Hi everyone, my name is Fahri from grade 9A, and for my English Rare project, I'll be making a poster based on the 1851 novel written by American author Herman Melville titled Moby Dick or The Whale. And I'll also be showing you guys the process of making the poster as well as answering 4 questions given by my English teacher, Miss Rina. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. So, the things that I will need for my watercolor painting is watercolor paper, a cup of clean water, another cup of clean water for cleaning your brushes, paintbrushes with different shapes and sizes, tissues, masking tape, a black pen, a white pen for highlights, an HB pencil for sketching, an eraser, and most importantly, watercolor paint. Now, onto the painting. So in here, I'm just taping off my watercolor paper to the floor to hold it in place and prevent it from moving around, as well as to hold it down so the watercolor paper stays flat. And here I'm just doing a rough sketch of my poster. I started out by drawing the sea and then progressing to the ship and then onto the whale itself. And in here I'm adding details to the ship as well as to the whale, like adding wrinkles and adding teeth and fixing some parts of the whale that I didn't quite like. For the sky, I'm doing what is called the wet on wet technique. It is basically a technique in watercolor painting where you lay down water on top of a blank sheet of paper and then putting a layer of watercolor paint on top of that wet paper. This way, the paint will blend more easily and it'll look nicer in the end. In here, I'm mixing the colors Payne's Gray and Prussian Blue in my watercolor palette in order to create a grayish blue color for the sky. Once I finished painting the sky, I then used a hairdryer to speed up the drying process of the paint. I added another layer of paint, and while that layer of paint is still wet, I used a tissue and dabbed on the wet watercolor paper to create a cloudy effect. Next, I painted in the sail of the ship with a light gray color and then shaded it with a darker gray color. After that, I colored in the deck of the ship with the color Burnt Umber from my watercolor palette. For the whale, I used a combination of wet on wet technique and wet on dry technique. First, I wet the area where I drew the whale. Then I colored the whale in lighter gray. I then added spots using dark gray on the lower part of its body, and then shaded the top part of its body using dark gray as well. And lastly, I added details and outlines around the whale. And of course, I outlined the ship too. For the sea, I mixed Payne's Gray and Cerulean Blue from my watercolor palette to create sort of a grayish teal color, which I think is very pretty and a very suiting color for the sea, especially sea in a stormy weather. I realized that the previous color wasn't dark enough, so I darkened it and layered it on top of the previous layer of paint. The whale was looking a bit bland, so I added some dark spots on its body. After I was satisfied with how the overall painting looked, I outlined the water and drew lines to show the current of the water. And finally, the last step of the painting is to add highlights. I added highlights on the water, the ship, and a little bit on the whale too. And now you guys can enjoy this mini tape peeling ASMR. And finally, my painting is finished! Okay, so this is the final result of my painting. I personally really like how it turned out. I like how I added these patterns to the whale, and also how I added the shading on the ship, and also these highlights on the water. And also the sky, as you can see, it looks very stormy and like dark and mysterious, and I think it really adds a scary atmosphere to the painting. And yeah, if you guys have any opinions or criticism about my painting, you can leave it in the comment section below. And now I'll be answering the questions given by my teacher. Question number 1. What is the title of your novel or book and its author? As I've mentioned at the beginning of this video, the book that I read is titled Moby Dick and was written by Herman Melville. Question number 2. What is the meaning behind your poster? My poster is a visual depiction of one of the scenes in the book where Moby Dick, a white sperm whale, is shown attacking the Pequod, the whaling ship that the main character, Ishmael, used to hunt down and plan to kill Moby Dick. However, Ishmael failed to capture Moby Dick and instead got his ship destroyed by the giant whale and then died in the process. Question number 3. Why did you choose this scene of the novel? What makes the scene so special? I chose this scene of the novel because it's my favorite scene. It's the most intense part of the whole story, where Ishmael and the rest of the ship's crew finally encounters Moby Dick and got the chance to capture and kill it. Unfortunately, Moby Dick attacked their ship and all the crew died. This scene just shows how enormous of a creature Moby Dick actually is. Question number 4. What were your struggles and challenges in making the poster? There are a lot actually. First and most importantly, I have to think of how the poster will turn out. That's why I created this draft right here. As you can see, it's really simple and not as good as this one. It was also really hard to shoot the painting process because I don't have a lot of tools that can help hold up my phone, so the angles of my videos were a bit weird, but I managed. Question number 5. Any advice for reading, and what are the advantages of reading? My best advice for reading is to just pick out a book that you know you'll like. For example, if you're a type of person who enjoys science fiction, you can pick out a book that is under the science fiction genre. If you're a type of person who enjoys romance, pick out a book that is under the romance genre. You get my point. Reading has many advantages. You can learn new things, acquire new vocabularies, and a book can even bring you to a whole new world of imagination. Last question, question number 6. Why is reading important? I think reading is important because, as I've said in the previous answer, reading can enrich your knowledge and it opens up a whole world of possibilities. So that concludes my English Fair project video. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much for watching. Goodbye!